Welcome back to base camp, WNZ. Well, it's a little bit unusual for us. I'm on a place right here doing solar and working on a bunch of things, and one thing these people have is this greenhouse here, and I'd say it's about 10 by 15 or something like that. And last year was their first year. This is all aquaponics. I think that's the right name for it. Basically, they've taken these totes and they've cut them in half, and the ones down here, there's 4 of them on the bottom. They have water and of course fish in them, and then the 4 on the top here, or 5 counting that, and then they have these vertical growing beds on this side. Like I said, they're changing this thing all around, but basically all the fish poop in the water, all the water comes up, comes through this great big tube in the back, floods into this soilless medium, and as you can tell, they've had this one planted for about a week. It all looks good. And they've got everything in the world growing in there, from tomato plants and pepper plants and eggplants and chard, and this one here they just got set up. This one here is having lettuce in it. This one here is a floating piece of styrofoam board with plugs and lettuce in it. And they just got this thing going here the other day, set back up. Water pumps around, drips into here, and I guess you can put lettuce and strawberries, everything in that. It runs into this piece of gutter, and then it runs back into the fish tank. So I'm going to take you along this summer. We're going to watch this thing, and I've been helping them do it. There's a fair amount of electric involved, and we're going to take this thing off grid. And that's what I'm kind of doing in here. We're trying to figure out, right now it runs on 2 basically little sump pumps that pump all the water. Really probably only needs 1, they said, but of course redundancy, you don't want the water to quit. So they have 2. But they also have, basically this thing will work. We're going to take a bunch of it off grid. Is little plastic bilge pumps. I thought there was one sitting here right there. But we're going to wire them up for off grid, so if the grid goes down, they have that, they'll be able to use it off of solar. But we're going to get the man who actually invented this, or not invented this thing, but built all this thing for them. We're going to get him in there. We're going to shoot some videos of everything from the little Venturi thing. In here is a settling tank, and it has a funnel in there. It spins it around, and all the dirt and everything comes out, and you can collect it and dump it and change it around. But they've liked this so much, husband, wife, 1 child, and they really can't eat all the food that comes out of this thing fresh, so they got to can some of it. So let me take you outside, and I'm going to show you the next little adventure part of this thing. Well, this is the next part of it. This is a 20 by 24 foot, I believe, greenhouse. It'd be aquaculture, and they're doing this thing a little bit different. We're also going to take this thing off grid as well. This time, instead of the fish tanks just being about 14 inches deep, foot of water in it or something, they built this pit down here, and they have 4 full-size totes for fish tanks. And then that water, they'll have beds sitting over top of it, and then they'll have beds all in here. Obviously, around the outside, trying to figure out his piping. He just started yesterday with this thing, but he'll be here for long, and we're going to show you how he's got this thing going. This time he's going to put all these pipes down here, and of course all this gets filled up with gravel, and I got to put some pipes in here for electric and put pipes in here for all solar power, and try to get this thing looking good. But we're going to take you along for this build. Like I said, we're trying to get this thing. They built the one up on top of the hill first, it sat and they used it for a year, then they had a bunch of changes, so they're hoping this time when they build this thing, they'll have a bunch of their ideas and changes already in mind. They do have, I believe it's tilapia in the tanks up on top of the hill, and they're going to be doing, I believe, catfish and some of these great big, huge, humongous freshwater crayfish in here that get 6-8 inches long. I believe that's their goal. So it's a little bit different, a little bit out of my wheelhouse of doing. I'm really interested in this thing. My neighbor up there where I live talked about doing it. When you really see it in operation, I've looked at it, I've studied it, I've watched it on YouTube, I've read about it. And then when you see it, it's really not that much really to it. It's just your design and how you want to do it. We're going to take you along this year as they build this thing, and we get this thing all powered up and ready to go, and kind of let you see what this thing looks like long term and how it works. So anyhow, as usual, thank you for watching. It's a little bit something different. We've got some things coming out. We're going to have a solar school here starting up. I was supposed to do a DIY solar talk, and I bought everything for it, and we're going to put it on here. Instead of having it at Life Skills, I'm going to have it on the channel, and we're going to just take you and be able to get that going. And we've got a few other things starting here on the channel. I'd like to take this time to thank everybody. I finally hit 1,000 subscribers. I think it took probably close to 3 years. DIY channels on this kind of stuff are kind of rare, so if you like it, share it, subscribe, tell your friends about it, let me know what you think. Talk to you next time.